All right, welcome to this explainer on the commercial viability and timeline of quantum computing. Let's just dive right into this, shall we? For those of you deploying venture capital or analyzing tech equities right now, quantum computing is presenting this completely fascinating paradox. On one hand, it promises to absolutely rewrite the fundamental rules of computation. But on the other hand, the path from a cool lab experiment to an actual commercial-scale product is just fraught with extreme engineering hurdles. So today, we're going to act as your guide. We are stripping away the noise to help you evaluate the long-term market viability of this technology. Here is exactly how we're going to break this down. We'll cover the financial landscape, the underlying mechanics of quantum advantage, the massive sector impacts, the technical risks involved, and finally, realistic timelines to commercial viability. Let's get started.
Section 1. The quantum financial landscape. Let's talk about the high-stakes volatility we're seeing right now.
To really get a read on this space, understanding the current investment climate is absolutely crucial. And guys, the sheer scale of capital at play here is just staggering. By some estimates, we are looking at more than $50 billion pledged globally by governments alone to advance quantum tech. In the private markets, they have been incredibly aggressively positioned. Late 2024, the excitement reached an absolute fever pitch. Right after Google announced its new Willow quantum chip, we saw some quantum computing stocks rally over 1,000%. Investors were essentially treating it like a race for the next big jackpot, and capital just flooded the space.
But, as we know, that momentum did not last. Many of those exact same stocks are now down double digits in 2025. So what happened? Why the sudden pullback? Well, the market is experiencing a massive reality check. The tension we're feeling right now is a direct clash between the incredible theoretical promise of quantum tech and a very widespread, very real skepticism over when these massive machines will actually be commercially viable.
Moving on to Section 2, the mechanics of advantage, translating the physics. Okay, to truly grasp the investment thesis here, we really have to look under the hood and translate the underlying physics into actionable commercial value. Now, conventional classical computers, the ones we use every day, they use bits, right? Ones and zeros. Quantum computers use quantum bits, or qubits, and these operate on two very special mechanical properties, superposition and entanglement. Basically, superposition means a qubit can represent multiple possibilities simultaneously, and entanglement means the state of one qubit instantaneously affects another, totally regardless of distance. When you put those two things together, they allow quantum systems to solve certain highly complex problems exponentially faster than any classical system ever could.
And the commercial paradigm shift here is profound. Think about classical computing as relying on discovery and trial and error. Historically, we've developed drugs by literally pulling bark off trees in the Amazon, testing it on mice, and just hoping for the best. It is a game of guessing and optimizing. Quantum computing, however, allows us to directly simulate nature. It completely shifts us from a discovery-based model over to a design-based model, where we can precisely engineer complex chemistry, new drugs, and advanced catalysts from the molecular level straight up.
Which brings us to Section 3, trillion-dollar sector impacts, the massive upside.
So what does this all mean for the bottom line? Well, analysts project that quantum computing could unlock up to $2 trillion in economic value by the year 2035. But keep in mind, this is not some generalized technology that's going to replace AI or make your inbox load faster. It is a highly specialized tool built for complex optimization problems, deep physics problems, and massive design space exploration.
Now, the specific industries slated to see the earliest and honestly most dramatic economic impact are mobility, chemicals, financial services, and pharmaceuticals. And the big players are taking notice. Fortune 500 companies are absolutely not sitting on the sidelines waiting for this tech to be perfect. Enterprises like Mercedes-Benz, Boehringer Ingelheim, and Mitsubishi Chemical are actively experimenting and partnering with quantum startups right now, today. They're doing this because they want to lock in a profound early competitive advantage in their respective fields. Let's look at a concrete example in the agricultural and chemical sectors. Today, synthesizing fertilizer costs companies between $100 to $300 billion annually. And get this, it consumes 3 to 5% of the world's entire natural gas supply. We actually know a more energy-efficient catalyst exists, but to simulate the molecular interactions to find it, that would take the world's absolute fastest classical supercomputer 800,000 years. A quantum computer could run that exact same simulation in under 24 hours. Let that sink in. 800,000 years versus less than a day. That is the kind of leap that literally redefines entire global supply chains. All right, Section 4, technical risks and roadblocks. Because yes, massive upside comes with some pretty massive risks.
Ironically, the exact same properties that make qubits so incredibly powerful also make them insanely fragile. Quantum states are highly ephemeral. They are easily destroyed by the absolute smallest environmental interactions. We're talking thermal noise, electromagnetic interference, even acoustic vibrations from someone walking nearby. To maintain coherence, engineers actually have to build these massive, elaborate chandelier-like systems just to isolate the chips, cooling them down to about 2.3 Kelvin. That is minus 270 degrees Celsius. That is literally the temperature of deep space. And furthermore, because of this extreme sensitivity, the systems are highly prone to calculation errors. Because of these massive hurdles, the industry actually hasn't settled on a single hardware architecture yet. We're seeing several competing and mostly unproven bets. Big players like Google, IBM, and Amazon are largely backing superconducting qubits. And remember, Google's Willow chip recently showed some really impressive progress in actively correcting errors to scale those systems up. Meanwhile, you've got companies like PsiQuantum and Xanadu betting on photonic qubits, leveraging existing silicon photonics and fiber optics, which they argue is way easier to scale in traditional data center racks. And then you have Microsoft pursuing topological qubits. This requires an entirely new state of matter. And while Microsoft claims it could shorten development timelines from decades down to years, it is heavily debated and currently facing a lot of skepticism within the scientific community.
But beyond the hardware physics, there is another severe systemic roadblock: the human element. How do we overcome the highly technical talent shortage needed to scale this industry? Because the reality is, the talent pool required to design, program, and actually operate these incredibly complex quantum systems is simply far too small right now to meet the demands of an industry trying to scale. So, to bridge this massive gap, the industry is actually turning to its most famous contemporary right now: artificial intelligence. Companies like IBM are pioneering the use of large language models to supplement developer knowledge bases and essentially help program the quantum computers themselves. This cross-pollination between AI and quantum computing is viewed as an absolutely vital strategy to drastically alleviate that workforce upskilling challenge.
Finally, Section 5, timelines to commercial viability. When does this actually become a profitable reality?
While depending on who you ask in the industry, the timeline varies wildly. Some analysts are expecting the very first examples of industrial quantum advantage, which means finding useful, profitable applications even before perfect error correction is totally achieved, within the next 12 to 18 months. Looking a bit further out, by 2027, PsiQuantum plans to have a full utility-scale quantum computer operational in Brisbane, completely backed by heavy government investment. Others point to 2029 as the real inflection point for massive value creation. But then, you have NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang recently tempering expectations, suggesting that we are probably still a good 10 to 15 years away from highly useful scaled systems.
However, the strategic consensus among the early adopters is pretty clear. Waiting for perfection is a losing strategy. Just like classical computers provided massive value during the Manhattan Project long before they were fully error-corrected, early quantum systems are going to provide decisive advantages. As one expert perfectly noted, once quantum advantage is undeniably reached, it will be incredibly difficult to access this computing power unless you are developing the partnerships right now. So the final question you really must ask yourself as an investor is this: given the trillion-dollar upside, can you actually afford the strategic risk of waiting on the sidelines?